Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing that everything you thought you knew about money was wrong. Not just a little off, but completely backwards. Most people believe that making more money will solve their problems. But what if the real problem isn't how much you make, but how much you actually understand about the money flowing through your life? In Increase Your Financial IQ, Robert Kiyosaki reveals a truth that schools never teach and most adults never discover. Money doesn't make you rich, financial intelligence does. This book breaks down the hidden forces that shape your financial life: taxes, debt, cash flow, risk, and information, the things wealthy people master while everyone else avoids. And here's the twist. The rich aren't playing a different game because they're lucky. They're winning because they think differently, ask smarter questions, and use money as a tool instead of a reward. So in this video, we're diving into the core lessons Kiyosaki believes can change your financial destiny. The 5 financial hacks that act like a personal upgrade for your brain, your wallet, and your future. We'll break down why making more money is just step 1, why protecting your money may be the real battle, and how the wealthy use leverage and information to multiply opportunities that most people never even see. By the end of this summary, you won't just understand the book. You'll understand how rich people think, how they build wealth even in uncertain times, and how you can start applying these ideas today no matter where you're starting from. Ready to get smarter with your money? Let's increase your financial IQ right now. Chapter 1 sets the foundation for the entire book by asking a simple question. Why do some people become financially successful while others struggle their entire lives? Robert Kiyosaki argues that the difference rarely comes down to talent, luck, or even income. The real separator is financial intelligence, the ability to solve money problems effectively. Kiyosaki explains that money problems never disappear. They simply change form depending on who you are. Poor people struggle with not having enough money. The middle class struggle with debt and taxes. Even the rich face challenges, such as protecting wealth, managing risks, and navigating financial laws. His point is straightforward. The better your financial intelligence, the better equipped you are to handle these challenges. One key idea in this chapter is that financial intelligence is not the same as academic intelligence. Schools focus on reading, writing, and math but almost completely ignore money. As a result, many people enter adulthood unprepared for the financial realities of taxes, inflation, debt, and investing. Kiyosaki stresses that this lack of education is one of the main reasons. Most people end up working for money instead of learning how to make money work for them. He introduces his basic formula. Every financial problem is a challenge that can be solved with greater financial intelligence. To illustrate this, he discusses situations like rising taxes, unexpected expenses, and job insecurity. People with low financial intelligence typically respond with fear, avoidance, or by simply trying to earn more money. But earning more isn't always the solution. Sometimes it makes the problem worse by pushing them into higher tax brackets or encouraging more spending. Financial intelligence, on the other hand, helps individuals approach the same problems with creativity, strategy, and a long-term perspective. Kiyosaki also emphasizes the role of mindset. The financially intelligent person asks questions like, how can I afford this? What's the real cost? How can I turn this expense into an asset? People with low financial intelligence tend to shut down the conversation by saying things like I can't afford it or that's impossible, which stops them from discovering new solutions. Another theme in the chapter is that the economy is always changing, and clinging to old financial habits is dangerous. What worked for previous generations, such as relying on a steady job or a pension, is less reliable today. This makes financial intelligence a necessary skill, not a luxury. Finally, Kiyosaki introduces the idea that financial intelligence isn't one single skill. Instead, it's a combination of several abilities that the rest of the book will explore: making money, protecting money, budgeting money, leveraging money, and improving financial information. By the end of Chapter 1, the reader understands the central message. You can't eliminate money problems, but you can become smarter than the problems you face. And financial intelligence is the skill that lets you do that. Chapter 2 lays out the core framework of the entire book, the 5 components. that make up financial intelligence. Robert Kiyosaki explains that improving your financial life is not about mastering one skill, it's about building competence across several interconnected areas. These 5 financial IQs form the blueprint the rest of the book expands on. Financial IQ 1. Making more money. Kiyosaki begins with the most obvious, yet least understood skill: increasing income. He stresses that making more money is not simply about getting a higher-paying job. It involves developing the ability to create money through entrepreneurship, investments, or innovative thinking. The financially intelligent person understands how to generate new income streams, rather than relying on a single source. Kiyosaki argues that the key is shifting from an employee mindset to a creator mindset, where money is produced by ideas, systems, and assets. Financial IQ 2. Protecting your money. Once you earn money, the next challenge is keeping it. Kiyosaki highlights taxes as the biggest threat to wealth. He explains how the rich legally minimize taxes through corporate structures, deductions, and strategic planning. This IQ focuses on understanding laws, financial systems, and tax codes to avoid losing income unnecessarily. Protecting money also involves insurance, asset protection, and risk management. Kiyosaki's message is that income is meaningless if you don't know how to prevent it from slipping away. Financial IQ 3. Budgeting your money. Budgeting, in Kiyosaki's approach, is not about cutting expenses to live frugally. Instead, it's about controlling cash flow so that money is allocated to productive uses. He emphasizes the importance of distinguishing between good expenses, those that build assets, and bad expenses, those that create liabilities. High financial intelligence means using budgeting to expand your financial capacity, not shrink your lifestyle. The goal is growth, allocating resources to investments and wealth-building opportunities. Financial IQ 4. Leveraging your money. This IQ focuses on using other people's resources, money, time, skills, and technology to increase your financial results. Kiyosaki explains that leverage is what separates small-scale earners from large-scale wealth builders. Debt, when used intelligently, is a tool to accelerate opportunity. However, misuse of leverage leads to financial disaster. The lesson here is that understanding leverage requires discipline, education, and clear strategy. When used properly, leverage multiplies what you can achieve with limited personal capital. Financial IQ 5. Improving your financial information. The final IQ emphasizes the importance of learning. Kiyosaki argues that outdated or incorrect information is one of the biggest liabilities in a fast-changing financial world. This IQ involves reading financial statements, understanding markets, analyzing opportunities, and continuously updating your knowledge. Financial intelligence grows as you learn, evaluate, and adapt. The people who thrive financially are those who actively seek new information and refine their decision-making. Kiyosaki closes the chapter by stating that mastering these 5 IQs creates a foundation for lifelong financial growth. Wealth is not the result of one skill, it is the result of developing a balanced, comprehensive understanding of how money works. Chapter 3 focuses on the first and most fundamental financial skill, the ability to make more money. Robert Kiyosaki explains that earning money is not just an action. It is a skill set built from creativity, confidence, and problem solving. People who increase their income are not simply lucky. They become valuable by learning how to create opportunities. Kiyosaki begins by emphasizing that most people rely on a single source of income, usually a paycheck. This is the riskiest position to be in because a paycheck is controlled by someone else. Financial intelligence starts with recognizing that additional income streams provide stability, growth, and resilience. He contrasts the employee mindset, trading time for money, with the entrepreneur, investor mindset, where money is produced by systems, assets, and ideas. He introduces a key concept: money is created through solving problems. The bigger the problem you solve, the more money you can earn. People with low financial intelligence avoid problems or seek comfort. People with high financial intelligence look for opportunities hidden inside problems. To explain this, Kiyosaki shares that people often believe they must work harder to make more money. But working harder doesn't guarantee wealth. What matters is working smarter, which means improving skills, taking calculated risks, and building assets. The world rewards those who find innovative ways to serve markets and create value. Kiyosaki then outlines 3 primary methods people use to increase income. Earned income, money from a job or self-employed work. This is the most taxed and least scalable form of income. While it can be increased through job advancement or skill development, it is limited by time and effort. Portfolio income, income from investments such as stocks, bonds, and real estate. This requires education, discipline, and the ability to evaluate opportunities, but it is more scalable. Passive income, income from assets that generate cash flow, including rental properties, royalties, businesses, and intellectual property. This is the least taxed and the most powerful type of income, but also the hardest to build initially. Another important idea in the chapter is overcoming fear. Fear of failure, fear of losing money, and fear of criticism stop people from pursuing new income-generating paths. Kiyosaki argues that mistakes are part of the learning process. Avoiding mistakes only keeps individuals trapped in low-income patterns. He also highlights the importance of education that leads to action. Reading books or attending seminars only matters if the knowledge is applied. Financially intelligent people take small steps, test ideas, learn quickly, and adjust. Kiyosaki concludes the chapter by reinforcing that making more money is not about chasing higher wages. It's about building financial creativity and developing the courage to pursue opportunities. The goal is to shift from earning income with your time to earning income with your ideas, systems, and assets. This is the first building block of financial intelligence and the foundation for everything that follows. Chapter 4 introduces the second pillar of financial intelligence, knowing how to protect your money. Robert Kiyosaki argues that making money is only half the equation, keeping it is just as important, and often much harder. Most people lose money not because of bad habits alone, but because they don't understand the systems that quietly drain their income. Kiyosaki identifies taxes as the biggest threat to wealth for many individuals. Taxes represent their single largest lifetime expense. Employees, in particular, are taxed at the highest rates because earned income is the least protected type of income. Kiyosaki explains that the tax code is built to reward certain behaviors: business ownership, investment, job creation, and innovation. People who understand these incentives can legally reduce their tax burden. Those who don't understand the system end up paying the most. One of the main messages of this chapter is that the rich are not avoiding taxes illegally. They are using the rules as they were designed. Corporations, for example, pay taxes last, after expenses. Employees pay taxes first, before they receive their income. The structural difference alone gives business owners and investors more control over their financial outcomes. Beyond taxes, Kiyosaki discusses 3 additional forces that erode wealth. Inflation, the gradual reduction of purchasing power. Kiyosaki notes that inflation hits hardest for those who save money in traditional ways. When inflation rises faster than interest rates, savers lose value without realizing it. Protecting money means understanding how to outpace inflation through assets that appreciate or generate cash flow. Debt mismanagement. Not all debt is harmful, but poorly managed debt destroys financial stability. Consumer debt, credit cards, car loans, high-interest liabilities forces people into long-term financial stress. Kiyosaki emphasizes that financial intelligence includes recognizing which debts are tools and which are traps. Legal risks, lawsuits, and liability claims can wipe out wealth if assets are not structured properly. Kiyosaki stresses the importance of legal protections such as corporations, LLCs, insurance, and professional advice. The goal is to separate personal assets from business risks. Another key idea in the chapter is that protecting money requires awareness and planning, not fear. Many people avoid learning about taxes or financial laws because they seem complicated. But Kiyosaki argues that complexity is often where opportunities exist. Those who study the rules gain an advantage over those who ignore them. He also emphasizes that financial protection is proactive, not reactive. Waiting until a crisis occurs, an audit, a lawsuit, A market downturn usually results in severe losses. The wealthy stay ahead by consulting advisors, structuring assets correctly, and reviewing their financial position regularly. Kiyosaki ends the chapter by reinforcing the principle that true financial intelligence isn't just about getting rich, it's about staying rich. Protecting money builds strength and resilience. Once this foundation is strong, individuals can pursue bigger financial goals with confidence. This chapter teaches a central lesson. You don't become wealthy only by making money. You become wealthy by understanding how not to lose it. Chapter 5 focuses on the third component of financial intelligence, the ability to budget money effectively. Robert Kiyosaki makes it clear that budgeting is not about cutting costs to live cheaply. It is about allocating resources strategically so money supports growth, not just survival. Kiyosaki begins by reframing budgeting as a tool for expansion. Most people think budgeting means restriction spending less, tightening the belt, or avoiding any financial risk. This mindset, he argues, limits people's ability to build wealth. Instead, financially intelligent budgeting involves directing money toward activities that increase your financial capacity, investments, education, business development, and systems that produce long-term returns. He introduces a key principle. A budget is a plan for how you intend to use your money to accomplish financial goals. Without a plan, most money flows toward liabilities, emotional spending, and short-term comfort. Kiyosaki compares the budgeting habits of the poor, middle class, and rich. The poor often live paycheck to paycheck, prioritizing immediate needs and emergencies. The middle class typically budget around liabilities, mortgages, car payments, credit cards, which creates a cycle of dependency on earned income. The rich budget around assets first. They prioritize investments and cash flow generating opportunities, then live on what remains. A central idea in this chapter is paying yourself first. When money arrives, financially intelligent individuals allocate funds to investments before addressing bills or discretionary spending. This forces them to become resourceful and disciplined. If expenses exceed what's left, they problem solve, restructure, or adjust instead of giving up investment contributions. Kiyosaki also explains that budgeting requires understanding the difference between good expenses and bad expenses. Good expenses expand your asset base, for example, investing in education, business infrastructure, or a rental property. Bad expenses diminish long-term financial strength and necessary consumption, high-interest debt, or buying liabilities disguised as assets. This distinction helps people make smarter decisions rather than simply trying to spend less. The goal is not to shrink your lifestyle, but to grow your financial foundation. Another theme is discipline under pressure. Kiyosaki notes that many people abandon their financial goals when faced with cash shortages or unexpected bills. Financial intelligence involves holding firm to asset-building priorities, even when it's uncomfortable. This is what builds long-term financial strength. He also highlights the importance of systems. Wealthy individuals often use automated transfers, structured accounts, and professional advisors to ensure their budget consistently aligns with their goals. Systems reduce emotional decisions and create predictable financial progress. Kiyosaki concludes the chapter by emphasizing that budgeting is ultimately about choice and control. People who master budgeting gain the ability to direct their finances intentionally, instead of reacting to problems. Over time, this leads to greater cash flow, reduced financial stress, and expanded opportunities. The chapter's core message is simple. Money grows where it is directed with purpose. Budgeting is the process that ensures your money works for you, not against you. Chapter 6 focuses on the fourth major component of financial intelligence, leverage. Robert Kiyosaki explains that leverage is the force that allows individuals to expand their financial results far beyond what they could achieve with their own money, time, or effort. It is the multiplier that separates average financial performance from true wealth building. Kiyosaki begins by defining leverage simply. Leverage is doing more with less. Instead of relying solely on personal savings or personal labor, financially intelligent people use external resources such as debt, technology, systems, partners, and other people's skills to scale opportunities. A key idea in the chapter is that debt itself is not the problem. Poor and middle-class individuals typically use debt to consume buying cars, vacations, or liabilities that produce no return. Wealthy individuals, in contrast, use debt to acquire income-producing assets. Kiyosaki emphasizes that debt used wisely can accelerate financial growth, while debt used poorly can destroy it. He explains two forms of leverage. Financial leverage, borrowed money used to acquire cash-flowing assets. When used correctly, financial leverage increases returns by allowing the investor to control assets far larger than their personal capital. Kiyosaki notes that banks, governments, and major corporations rely heavily on financial leverage to operate and grow. Learning to use it responsibly is a key aspect of financial intelligence. Operational and human leverage, using systems, employees, contractors, and automation to expand output. Entrepreneurs understand that leveraging other people's time and expertise is essential for creating scalable businesses. Without leverage, a person's income is limited to the number of hours they can personally work. Kiyosaki also highlights knowledge as a form of leverage. Financial education strengthens your ability to evaluate opportunities, mitigate risks, and avoid costly mistakes. The more you understand markets, laws, taxes, and business systems, the stronger your leverage becomes. A recurring lesson in this chapter is that all leverage carries risk. Misusing leverage, especially debt, can lead to financial collapse. Kiyosaki argues that this risk is precisely why financial education is critical. People with low financial intelligence often fear leverage and avoid it entirely. Meanwhile, those who master leverage gain access to opportunities others never see. Kiyosaki also discusses the difference between good risk and bad risk. Good risk comes from informed decisions, thorough planning, and controlled structures. Bad risk results from emotional reactions, poor information, or spending without strategy. He stresses that risk is not something to avoid but something to manage. Financially intelligent individuals design their systems, corporate structures, legal protections, insurance, and financial buffers to reduce downside while expanding upside potential. Another point in the chapter is that leverage is essential. Because your own resources are inherently limited, your time is limited, your savings are limited, your personal expertise is limited. Leverage allows you to multiply your impact and grow beyond these constraints. Kiyosaki concludes by reinforcing that mastering leverage is a turning point in anyone's financial life. It is the tool that transitions people from linear income to scalable, sustainable wealth. The central message: financial leverage is power, but only when combined with financial intelligence. Chapter 7 introduces the fifth and final financial intelligence skill: improving the quality of your financial information. Robert Kiyosaki argues that this is the most important IQ because every financial decision, earning, protecting, budgeting, and leveraging money depends on the information you rely on. Good information leads to strong decisions. Bad information leads to struggle, confusion, and costly mistakes. Kiyosaki opens the chapter by explaining that most people make financial choices based on outdated, incomplete, or secondhand information. Much of what they know about money comes from parents, schools, or co-workers, sources that may not be financially successful themselves. As a result, people follow advice designed for a world that no longer exists. For example, the belief that job security, saving money, and avoiding debt will guarantee financial stability is no longer reliable in today's economic environment. This chapter emphasizes that financial intelligence grows as you upgrade the quality of your knowledge. Kiyosaki labels the modern era as an information economy, where the people who control and process information effectively gain a major advantage. The challenge is learning to sort good information from bad information. Kiyosaki identifies 3 types of information every financially intelligent person must master. Accounting information. This includes understanding financial statements, cash flow patterns, income, expenses, assets, and liabilities. Kiyosaki insists that financial literacy begins with learning to read numbers. People who cannot interpret financial statements are forced to rely on others, which limits control and exposes them to risk. Those who understand accounting can see opportunities and identify problems long before they become crises. Investment information. This involves knowledge about markets, trends, risk evaluation, and asset classes. Kiyosaki stresses that investing is not gambling. It is a decision-making process rooted in analysis. Investors with strong information can evaluate deals, understand market behavior, and choose opportunities that match their goals. Poor investors rely on tips, rumors, or emotion-based decisions. Legal and tax information. Kiyosaki argues that laws and tax codes are tools. People who understand them gain structural advantages in wealth building. Those who ignore them end up paying more in taxes, facing unnecessary liabilities, or losing money to compliance issues. The rich use legal information to protect assets, reduce taxes, and position themselves for strategic growth. A key theme in the chapter is that information is only valuable when you verify it. Kiyosaki encourages readers to question sources, test assumptions, and continuously update their knowledge. The financial world changes quickly. Relying on old information can be dangerous. He also highlights the importance of teams, accountants, attorneys, advisors, and mentors. Financial intelligence grows faster when you learn from experts and surround yourself with people who have deeper knowledge in specific areas. Kiyosaki concludes the chapter by reinforcing that improving your financial information creates a compounding effect. Better information leads to better decisions, which leads to more resources, allowing you to access even better information and opportunities over time. The core message: your financial results are only as strong as the information you use. Improve the information, and you improve everything else. Chapter 8 shifts the discussion from technical financial skills to a deeper concept: the integrity of money. Robert Kiyosaki describes integrity not in the moral sense, but in the structural sense. Similar to how engineers talk about the integrity of a building. If the structure is weak, everything built on top of it is unstable. The same applies to a person's financial life. Kiyosaki explains that financial integrity means alignment between what you say, what you believe, and what you actually do with money. Many people claim they want financial freedom, yet their daily financial behavior, spending habits, avoidance of financial education, reliance on job security, contradicts that goal. This misalignment creates instability, stress, and inconsistent financial results. The chapter highlights several forms of misalignment. Emotional misalignment. People often make money decisions based on fear, pressure, or impulse rather than strategy. Kiyosaki emphasizes that emotions like fear of loss, fear of criticism, and greed often lead to poor financial choices. Building financial integrity requires becoming aware of these emotional triggers and learning to respond with logic rather than reaction. Behavioral misalignment. Kiyosaki notes that many individuals do financially destructive things even when they know better, such as overspending, avoiding financial planning, or ignoring opportunities to learn. This gap between intention and action reduces financial stability and leads to chronic problems. Knowledge misalignment. Outdated beliefs also weaken financial integrity. For example, a job is secure. Saving money is the safest strategy. The government will take care of me. Kiyosaki argues that these assumptions no longer match today's economic realities. When beliefs don't align with truth, the structure of your financial life becomes fragile. The chapter then expands the idea of integrity to larger systems, governments, banks, corporations, and markets. Kiyosaki argues that the global financial system itself suffers from weak integrity, pointing to high levels of public debt, inflation, unfunded liabilities, and political decisions that distort real economic value. He encourages readers to strengthen their personal financial integrity precisely because external systems cannot be relied upon. A major theme in this chapter is responsibility. Kiyosaki stresses that taking responsibility for your financial education, your spending decisions, and your long-term planning is the foundation of financial integrity. Blaming employers, governments, or circumstances weakens your financial structure because it removes control from your hands. He also highlights the role of financial statements as a tool for measuring integrity. By regularly reviewing income, expenses, assets, and liabilities, individuals gain a clear, honest view of their financial condition. Integrity grows when the numbers confirm that your behavior aligns with your goals. Kiyosaki concludes that financial integrity is the core that supports all other financial likes. Without it, efforts to earn, protect, budget, or leverage money will be inconsistent and ineffective. With strong financial integrity, your mindset, habits, and decisions work together, creating stability and long-term strength. The core message: when your beliefs, actions, and goals align, your financial life gains structural integrity, and that integrity becomes the foundation for building lasting wealth. Chapter 9 expands on the idea that financial intelligence is not fixed. Robert Kiyosaki argues that anyone can improve their financial capabilities by deliberately developing what he calls their financial genius, the natural problem-solving ability every person has, but often fails to use in financial situations. Kiyosaki begins by comparing financial genius to physical strength. Just as muscles grow when challenged, financial intelligence grows when exposed to real financial problems. Many people remain financially weak because they avoid difficult situations, rely on job security, or fear making mistakes. Kiyosaki states that without challenge, the financial mind never develops. A central idea in this chapter is that financial genius emerges under pressure. Kiyosaki explains that people often become creative only when forced into tough conditions. Losing a job, facing unexpected expenses, or dealing with economic downturns. While these events are stressful, they can also stimulate new ideas, new income sources, or more disciplined money habits. The goal is to intentionally challenge yourself before crisis forces you to. Kiyosaki identifies 3 key obstacles that block the development of financial genius: fear of losing money, fear of criticism, and fear of being wrong prevent people from taking action. Kiyosaki argues that the financially intelligent person learns to manage fear, not eliminate it. Courage and education together reduce the emotional impact of risk. Cynicism, doubt, and negative thinking shut down creativity. Statements like "that won't work," "the economy is too bad," or "I don't have enough money" prevent the mind from exploring solutions. Kiyosaki highlights that cynical thinking is often disguised as rationality, but it limits financial growth. Laziness, not physical laziness, but mental laziness, avoiding research, avoiding planning, or refusing to study financial subjects. Kiyosaki emphasizes that improving financial intelligence requires active learning, reading financial statements, studying markets, asking questions, and seeking opportunities. The chapter also outlines practical methods to stimulate financial genius. Set bigger financial goals that force creative thinking. Ambitious goals push the mind to explore new strategies. Use the power of questions. Instead of saying "I can't," ask "how can I?" This shifts thinking from limitation to problem solving. Surround yourself with smarter people. Kiyosaki stresses the importance of building a team of advisors, accountants, attorneys, mentors who expand your knowledge. Engage in real-world learning, taking small investment actions, testing ideas, and reviewing results accelerate growth more effectively than passive learning. Kiyosaki highlights that financial genius is heavily influenced by mindset and identity. People who see themselves as capable, adaptable, and responsible tend to make stronger financial decisions. Conversely, people who believe money is complicated or overwhelming rarely make progress. He concludes the chapter by reinforcing that financial genius is developed through continuous learning, repeated action, and the willingness to face financial challenges head-on. The process is uncomfortable but essential. As you train your financial mind, your capacity to earn, protect, and grow money increases exponentially. The core message: financial genius is not a gift, it is a skill set built through pressure, education, and persistent action. Chapter 10 brings together all the core ideas from the previous chapters and focuses on how to actively develop your financial IQ over a lifetime. Robert Kiyosaki emphasizes that financial intelligence is not something you master once. It is an ongoing process that requires continuous learning, adaptation, and disciplined action. Kiyosaki opens the chapter by explaining that the world is changing faster than ever. Markets shift, tax laws evolve, currencies fluctuate, and new technologies reshape industries. Because of this rapid change, the most valuable financial skill is the ability to keep learning and updating your knowledge. A person who stops learning quickly falls behind. He identifies several key principles for developing financial IQ. 1. Practice the 5 financial IQs together. Kiyosaki underscores that each of the 5 IQs, making money, protecting money, budgeting money, leveraging money, and improving financial information, works as part of an integrated system. Improving one area strengthens the others. For example, better information improves your investment decisions. Stronger budgeting increases the capital available for leverage. Tax knowledge protects the income you generate. He stresses that financial intelligence grows most effectively when all 5 skills are intentionally practiced. To take action, not just education. Kiyosaki points out that many people consume financial content but never apply it. Real financial growth happens through action-based learning, making decisions, analyzing results, adjusting strategies, and repeating the cycle. He argues that small, controlled steps, buying a small investment, starting a micro-business, taking on a calculated financial challenge, teach far more than theory alone. 3. Develop strong financial habits. Kiyosaki outlines habits that reinforce financial growth. Regularly reviewing financial statements, tracking cash flow, setting financial goals and deadlines, investing consistently, allocating time weekly for financial education. These habits build discipline and turn financial intelligence into a daily practice, rather than a once-in-a-while effort. 4. Build and rely on a team. Kiyosaki emphasizes that wealth is rarely built alone. Developing your financial IQ requires working with professionals, accountants, attorneys, brokers, mentors, and financial advisors. A strong team provides knowledge, perspective, and accountability. The financially intelligent person uses teams to leverage expertise he or she does not personally have. 5. Embrace problems as opportunities. One of the strongest themes in this chapter is that financial challenges stimulate growth. Kiyosaki repeats that problems, inflation, taxes, debt, market volatility, are not obstacles to avoid but signals that the financial environment is changing. Those who respond creatively gain an advantage. Those who resist change fall behind. 6. Commit to lifelong learning. Kiyosaki concludes by emphasizing that financial mastery is a lifelong journey. The more you learn, the more opportunities you recognize. Financial intelligence compounds. Each improvement accelerates the next. The chapter closes with the message that you don't need to be born wealthy to become financially intelligent. Continuous learning, disciplined practice, and strategic action are what build long-term wealth. Core message: developing financial IQ is an ongoing, intentional process, a lifelong commitment to learning, applying knowledge, and adapting to a constantly changing financial world. Increase your financial IQ wraps up with one core message: money problems never disappear, but your ability to solve them can grow endlessly. Throughout the book, Robert Kiyosaki breaks down financial intelligence into 5 practical skills: making money, protecting money, budgeting money, leveraging money, and improving the quality of your financial information. Each skill works like a building block, and together they create a durable foundation for long-term wealth. Kiyosaki's main point is that the traditional path, work hard, save money, avoid debt, hope for retirement, no longer fits today's economic reality. Inflation, taxes, volatility, and rapid technological change require a new kind of thinker. Financial intelligence gives you that edge. It shifts you from reacting to money problems to actively designing your financial life. Across the chapters, Kiyosaki emphasizes that financial growth comes from learning, experimenting, reviewing mistakes, and consistently upgrading your information. He encourages readers to look for opportunities inside challenges, question old money beliefs, and use tools like leverage, corporate structures, and financial statements to support smarter decisions. Most importantly, he shows that wealth isn't about high income. It's about how effectively you manage what flows through your hands. The book ends by reminding readers that financial intelligence is a lifelong journey. The more you learn, the more you can earn, protect, and multiply. Your future wealth will come from the actions you take, the knowledge you apply, and the habits you build starting now. If this breakdown helped expand your financial thinking, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another financial deep dive. Drop a comment about which financial IQ you want to strengthen next, and I'll cover it in an upcoming video. Let's grow smarter with money, one lesson at a time.